All right. Welcome, everybody. Let everybody kind of come in here and start to join us. Whoa, that's cool. That's new. Do you see that on my cursor?
Whoa, yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know how I did that.
You're a wizard.
Yeah, I really don't know what I did. Okay. Hey, everybody. Letting all the participants come in. Give everybody a chance to come in here and join us. We're talking Cyber 5, the turkey, right? We've talked about this before. Remember back to the days of kid art class where you paint your hand and then you put it on the paper and then you can turn your hand into a turkey. We're talking about the turkey. We're talking about Cyber 5. We're talking about winning on Amazon and driving sales for the holiday season. Now, what's interesting about the holiday season that's different than what we've experienced in the past is that Cyber 5 is just part of that season, but that season is much more encompassing of like November 1st through January 15th when we get into gift cards and returns and everything. So while you may not be super prepared today, you still have time. You still have time to get inventory into Amazon. You still have time to develop strategies and promotions. You still have the ability to really drive your business. If you have questions, please use the Q&A on the screen, and we will answer as many of those as possible throughout the presentation. I want to go ahead and get started. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. And since I have this cool new feature, I'll use it. Jeff Cohen, Vice President of Marketing here at Stellar Labs. I've been working with you guys for a number of years, and I'm excited to really talk today with PPC Ed. So why don't you introduce yourself, Ed?
Yes, I am so happy to be here. My name is Edward Ruffin. I'm one of the account directors for the managed services team, of course, at Stellar Labs. And I have also been with Stellar Labs for a few years now, Jeff. I feel like I've grown up at Stellar Labs, honestly.
Yeah. So, I mean, we started managed services 3 years ago now, where we had a lot of people coming to us saying, "Can you do this for me?" Right? I don't want to run my own ads. Can you do this for me? And we started it about 3 years ago, probably in about September, so leading up to the holidays. So we've had three. This will be our fourth holiday season in managing ads, and we've been able to take our experience and our learnings from our past clients and our past history, and we use that to build out the strategies for what we're doing to be successful today. And so what we're going to try to do in this presentation is walk you through what we think are the critical pieces of this that you should be paying attention to. And it doesn't mean that there aren't other pieces to this, but this is just what we're focusing on. And when we talk to customers, what we're recommending they focus on so that they see the success from this time period that they're looking for. So Ed, why don't you go ahead and get us started on starting early, or let's even answer the question, is it too early or are we too late?
It is, first of all, never too early, guys. Honestly, the biggest thing you should know is you should always be planning ahead. You shouldn't be waiting till last minute every year, all the time for anything that happens on Amazon. Instead, just prepare your account as soon as possible. Do it throughout the year. And this is, optimizing your listings, getting your campaigns set up, and also improving your brand presence on Amazon. You can do this at any time throughout the year, and you can always update it and change it as the year goes on. So that way, when you get to Cyber 5 or even just November in general, you're ready. You have data. You have an understanding of what's been working and what hasn't worked. So that way you're set up for success when it really is crunch time going forward.
Yeah, and the customers that we've seen that have had the most success are the ones who are able to plan really far in advance and be able to make inventory decisions and promotion decisions and internal communication decisions and everything leading up to it. We understand that today, right? Today is November 18th. You don't have that luxury, right? So we work with plenty of brands that are still trying to manufacture their product, get it off the boat, get it into Amazon today. They're dealing with the same struggles and challenges that you have, and we all have. The beauty of it is that in years past, I would say that if you didn't have your inventory figured out by now, you were kind of screwed. I'll just cut right to the chase, right?
Yeah.
You were kind of screwed. This year is different because Amazon is not delivering the 2-day expectation that they've been delivering in the past. So we have clients who are going out of stock. They're setting a restock date, maybe 7 or 14 days forward, and they're generating sales over those 7 or 14 days while they're in the process of restocking. So if you go out of stock, don't freak out. This isn't like a one-trick pony anymore. If your stuff is stuck on a boat or it's over in China, you might not be able to take advantage of this. But if you're trying to get inventory from a local warehouse to an Amazon warehouse or off your boat to your warehouse, you still have time because customers are okay that things are not shipping immediately. They've built in extra time in their shipping. Now, because of that, Amazon has also expanded their Cyber 5 into a Cyber Week. And so yesterday or 2 days ago, Amazon came out and said, Black Friday deals start Friday, November 20th. That's in 2 days. They also developed a URL, amazon.com/Black Friday. And if you go to that URL today, there's not really many deals that are there. It says coming soon. But Amazon is now reacting to what's happening at Walmart and Target and all the other big box retailers who are all starting to compete for everybody's November dollars. So we're not necessarily fighting for Cyber Monday dollars. We're fighting for November dollars. And I saw an interesting debate online where somebody tried to make a bold prediction and they said, Cyber Monday won't break any records from the past. I say they're wrong. Why are they wrong? Because we saw what happened in Singles Day, right? Singles Day was 11/11. It takes place, it's an Alibaba, their version of Prime Day. And we saw what happened with Singles Day. And Singles Day records were off the chart. That's what we're going to have here. And so we'll have a longer run-up time period where more sales are happening, more traffic is happening, the time period is longer. But I still anticipate that people are going to be home. They're not going to be joining their family for Thanksgiving, and they're going to be online shopping.
Yes.
And as we start to see more and more restrictions get placed across cities and states across the country, that's just going to push more and more people to shop online. And that's a real bonus. We're all in the right place at the right time. So let's talk a little bit about, we know this traffic is coming. How do we clean up our presence, Ed?
Well, okay, guys. So you can drive as much traffic as you want to, whether it be through advertising, social, any other method. You just telling a friend to go to your listing. But you don't have a strong listing and a strong brand presence, you're kind of driving traffic for nothing. So make sure you are optimizing your listing. And in this case, like earlier we said, it's never too early to start. It's also never too late to optimize your listing. And I want to really harp on this because this should be something that's done pretty often. You can't really just optimize a listing 1 year and hope it stays the same for the next 3 to 4 years. You should be checking it all the time, doing keyword research, seeing what's actually working, where the traffic is coming from, and optimizing going forward. So this especially means using those strong keywords in your title, bullet points, back-end keywords, and your product description as well. But really focusing on this, guys, like you can do this today and it can still help you out going into next week. There's still optimizations that can take place. And also just make your listing look beautiful. You want people to love what they see, so then they buy it a lot quicker instead of waiting and comparing to other people selling something similar on Amazon.
Yeah, if you're landing on your product and your photos are the same as somebody else's and your title is the same and your bullets are reading the same, then you've got a lot of optimization to do, right? What you want, I always say, you want to be Coke. You don't want to be Pepsi, right? Pepsi is always trying to compare themselves to Coke. They're always chasing what Coke is doing. They're always trying to tell you why they're better. You want to be the industry leader that's putting your flag in the ground and saying, we're the best. This is what is unique about our product, what makes our product better than everything else. And therefore, you want to buy our product because we do not advocate for a race to the bottom when it comes to pricing. We do not advocate for a discount promotion as the way to drive your sales. They're
Mhm.
all complements to the other things that you're doing. And if you have a strong product and you have a strong brand, you can get more for your product than somebody else.
Yeah, and it's okay to have competition, guys. Just be better. Like, do better than them. Take notes of what they're doing and flip it, and make yours just like the best product and the best brand out there in that category.
Yeah, I always like to say that it's easy to read, it's hard to interpret and apply, right? So it's easy to see what your competitors are doing, but don't just try to copy them, try to
Hmm.
apply it to what you need to be doing. So one of the
Hmm.
things you can be doing is adding holiday terms to your listing. We want you to be careful when adding holiday terms to your listing because you can't add the word sale or discount or things like that. And your product also has to be relevant to the terms that you're adding, right? So you can't just say great Christmas gift in your listing, but you can use back end search terms to add the term like Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa. You can make sure you have the word gift included in some of your back end terms.
Hmm.
And if your product is a Christmas ornament, you can use the word, but you can't just turn your apple slicer into a Christmas apple slicer, right? You got to be careful in how you're using these holiday terms because the last thing you want to do is wake up and see a listing suppression where your product isn't showing up anymore. Ed, are
Hmm.
you guys currently actively updating listings for your customers using holiday terms? And how do you determine which ones to use?
We're talking with a lot of them about that. We kind of like want to make sure they're comfortable with it if we do it. The thing is, though, when you're doing this, you want to do this as early as possible. So, like, do it today, guys, if you want to, because it takes a while for you to actually index for those terms and to start actually getting some type of traffic for that. But really, we try to make sure it's a good fit. Like, if it's not actually like an item that could be a gift, like if they're selling like, well, I was going to say a chainsaw, but I guess that could be a gift to a certain person. You could say gift for lumberjack or something. I don't know, but we make sure it actually is relevant enough and we're not just throwing terms in there just to get extra traffic, because then we're going to get wasted traffic that's not converting for those holiday terms. So we're still being selective with it, but it is something we're bringing up with certain clients that we're working with.
And then let's talk a little bit about, so we can update our terms and our terminology, but what about our photos and stores and A plus content?
Ah, man. So stores are probably my favorite thing on Amazon besides sponsor branded video ads. You can hold me to that, Jeff. You can ask me years from now. It'll probably be the same thing. But stores are wonderful because it takes, this funnel of shoppers and puts them in your ecosystem. So while they're in your ecosystem, make it enjoyable and make it themed. Add a theme to your store. So update your banner so it has like a holiday theme that we can see on some of these here. They actually updated this just for the holiday period to make people see that they're in the holiday mood, and it puts shoppers in a holiday mood to buy products and to buy gifts, and it's perfect. And you can even go as far as actually adding a new page just for holiday products to call attention to those, so they're separated from the rest of the catalog that's being displayed on there.
Yeah, so you can see under Silver Lily, it says holiday pajamas. They obviously have the Christmas type look. Vermont Teddy
Mm-hmm.
Bear is highlighting some of their bears for the holidays. So when you're updating your homepage of your store page, you want to make sure that you're bringing, just like you would merchandise if you had a physical store. Now, what's
Right.
cool about stores is that with stores, you can actually now schedule your stores and dates and times. So you can actually create a holiday version of your store, and you can set that store to expire on December 25th at midnight, so that when you wake up on the 26th, you don't have to go create a new store. Your old store reverts and takes place of the store that you created. Now, if you don't have a store, the
Mm-hmm.
first thing you should do is build a store. Don't worry about it being a Christmas oriented store. Just build a store. We're now building multiple stores per month for our clients because they're starting to see the value of this. And there are store statistics that will tell you how many people are coming and how many people are buying from visiting the store. And then there are ads now that you can specifically drive people into your store. And then you can use external ads, either your email or a Facebook ad, to drive traffic into your store and kind of block out your competition from being seen. So the
Mm-hmm.
value of the store has multiple purposes to it. And it's something that should become a strong part of your overall brand presence and cyber strategy.
Yeah. And I think one thing, if I'm not mistaken, I think sponsored brand video ads will actually be able to drive traffic to a store soon. I think they're rolling that out as well. So it's like my two favorite things coming together as one, and
Yeah.
take advantage of that as it comes out for sure.
One other thing that I saw within stores that I thought was really cool is so they had like their normal categories of stores. And then they had the last one, which was like photos from our customers. And it was all like posted photos of like their, like basically what we would call lifestyle photos, but they weren't produced photos. They were literally customer photos. And even if you don't have customer photos, you could take your iPhone and go take picture, go drive your product around town, you know, and do a photo shoot of your product in different places. And you can post them up there as well. It's just another chance to kind of develop and push the brand and the lifestyle and the messaging that you want behind your product.
Yeah, even like a recipe tab. If you sell something that like can make drinks or something like that, I've seen people do a recipe tab, and that's just added value to the customers and shows off your brand even more.
Okay, so now we want to talk about auditing the account, right? So we've gone through about being prepared. We've gone through and how we're going to develop our presence. And this is like a specialty of you as a strategist within our group, and then the team in general in terms of how we prepare. So talk a little bit about how you use campaign day look back to identify and understand kind of how you want to move forward.
Yeah, so with all the clients that we work with, we actually do this kind of on an ongoing basis as they're working with us for a few months. I suggest doing a 60-day look back on your advertising, because most of the time when you're optimizing your ads, you're looking at like a 14-day window or a 30-day window. And you may see some terms that have one click and no sales. But if you expand outwards and do a 60-day look back instead, that could have 5 clicks and no sales. And it could know to negate it or to move it from auto to manual with a lower bid. So just by zooming out, you get much more data, and it can do a whole lot more with your advertising that prepares you going forward. So by doing a 60-day look back, you know, or if you're using Ignite, go to 90 days if you want to as well, you're going to remove as much wasted ad spend as possible. So now going forward, you're getting cleaner traffic. So you're kind of removing all the excess and saying, cool, this worked. Let's push this harder going forward. So it sets you up for success.
So,
and
go into, I don't know that everyone really, we talk about this concept a lot, but I don't know that everybody fully understands it. But talk about how there's 2 advantages to wasted ad spend, right? So the first one is we stop spending money on things that don't work. The second is we start to make budget available for things that are working. Can you talk a little bit about how those 2 kind of play into one another to really optimize a campaign?
Yes, it is one of the coolest things in the world, because you can see, okay, this keyword, I spent $10 on it and it didn't convert. I don't think it's going to work anymore going forward. I want to negate that. So mentally, I'm thinking, cool, I have $10 I can reallocate to what is working. And that can either be just at like a budget level at a campaign, or I can increase bids by like a dollar amount or so to use that and reallocate it to what has been working inside the account. So it's scraping the excess and applying it to what's actually working at a keyword level, ad group level, or even at a full campaign level if you want to as well.
Yeah, so these things have kind of a dual purpose, right? It's not just about like saving money and spending less. It's about saving money and spending it on the correct thing that's going to get you a return. And I heard this the other day in a conversation I was having, and I've already used it several times, which was like, advertising is not about how much you spend or how much you save. It's about how much you invest and what your return on investment is. And if you're not using the mentality of investment and return on investment, you're starting off and just approaching ads incorrectly to begin with.
100%. And that's how I approach it with all the clients I work with. Is I'm not here to spend your money. I'm here to show you a positive return on the investment that you put into your ads. And if it does well, we increase it and push it harder.
So let's talk about, as we always get into the holidays type season, we start talking about bids and budgets. let's talk a little bit about how you look at bids and budgets and maybe how some things might have changed this year compared to how you've looked at it in the past.
Yeah, so this year's been kind of eye-opening. We've seen different traffic on Amazon, of course, with Prime Day being so late in the year. And we've seen, a bigger focus for us is not to increase bids at holiday times or certain days, but instead to open up the budgets. Because we realize more and more, as there's more traffic on Amazon, those budgets are running out and those campaigns are pausing. They're pausing at like 9 a.m. and they're not running for the rest of the day. So instead, as we were going into Prime Day, I was talking to my clients and saying, hey, I really want to focus on budgets. I want to open up your budgets and keep an eye on them throughout the day and make sure you're getting a full day's worth of advertising and it's not shutting off early in the morning. Because the normal mentality is to triple your bids and double your budgets. And I know Amazon would love that, but it's not necessarily needed as much now. And I'm not saying stop doing optimizations and stop increasing bids on things that are working, but there's no need for a tremendous increase in this time period. And that's just what I've seen personally with the clients I work with.
Yeah, I think you need to look at at a couple of reports. And the challenge with Amazon, we're talking a lot about what we dub internally a macro and a micro view of your advertising, right? So macro meaning looking at it as a whole, micro meaning looking at it as specifically what's happening. And when we do that, what we're able to see is kind of what's happening and what's working over a long period of time. The challenge with a holiday or any type of burst is that you don't have the luxury of all of that happening. So you have to go to a little bit more of like what I call the gut check, which is like, I spent more money today, but my sales increased. And I don't specifically know if my sales increased because of sales attributed to ads, but I do know that I spent a little bit more and my sales increased. And so I'm going to have to like spend some money a little bit, I'm going to have to take some calculated risk with either increasing a bid or increasing a budget. But I should see what's happening on a day-to-day basis with sales. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind. You got to watch your competition because while you're having inventory problems, so is your competition. And so if your competition all of a sudden comes back in stock and they've got a cheaper product and they've got more reviews, your sales might drop, and that might be the reason why. And if all of a sudden your competitor goes out of stock, your sales might increase because you can take the space from them that they couldn't take. So there's a lot that's kind of going on, and the ability to get products to Amazon limiting the number of products that you can send in, taking a longer period of time from the time they get there to the time they get checked in. All of these things are impacting how we sell and what's going to make us successful.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about pricing and coupons. I know you're a big advocate of coupons. And I know you want to give a little bit of an advice that Amazon probably doesn't, Amazon and or shoppers don't want to hear. So talk a little bit about coupons and how you see them working into everything.
Well, first of all, I'm a big coupon guy. I use them all the time. I love a good deal. And now that's out of the way, I can tell the truth about coupons. The thing about coupons on Amazon is, first of all, to me, they display better. They're more eye-catching. People are drawn to them. They see them as a saving and they get excited. They're like, wow, that's a good deal. So then they do what's called clipping the coupon, where they kind of claim the coupon. And when it's claimed, it does cost you 60 cents. But the thing is, they may go to checkout and not actually use the coupon. So they buy it at full price, possibly. So it did just cost you 60 cents, but you didn't have to pay for the discount on the item itself. So I'm a huge fan of coupons for that reason. And also they just look better in advertisements and actually just displays on Amazon in general too.
Yeah. And like, here's what's really funny. I just bought a product. My wife wanted me to buy some of those face shields. And the one I bought from had good reviews, it had a decent price, and it was running a coupon. And I noticed at checkout that I was buying it with a 5% coupon, which saved me like 58 cents. And I was like, wow, the coupon, I picked them because of the coupon. But the coupon really wasn't anything. So depending on the price of your product, couponing works in different ways. The other thing that we've noticed at Amazon is that Amazon has reinstituted the list price slash through. That's up in the first example. About 2 years ago, Amazon stopped this practice. They stopped showing the list price slash through. I actually got an email from Amazon yesterday for one of the brands that I manage that was asking me to make sure that we that we added the list price in for all of our products. And what it said in this email, I should have put it in this presentation. What it said in the email was, your customers want to know that your list price is higher and your price on Amazon is a discount. So go ahead and tell them. And so what we did with this brand was we went to their website and we raised their prices on their website, and we ran a site-wide coupon. So there's a banner, same concept, site-wide coupon, banner, drop-down pop, or banner and a pop-up that says save 10%. We raised their price by 10%, which now allows us to come on Amazon and raise the list price by 10% because it matches what's on the website. So the customer will get the experience of saying, list price, coupon, savings is greater. And it's really interesting because Amazon, it just blows me away because Amazon specifically was prohibiting this. Well, they weren't prohibiting it, but they stopped it programmatically about 2 years ago. And now they're almost encouraging it. And so it's something that if you don't have list price, you need to get your list price listed. Now, don't go crazy and like double, triple your list price just to make your discount look better. Because Amazon will get you for price gouging if it's dramatically more, but you can list it at the MSRP or the highest price that you've sold that product for, and you can show that discount of what you're selling it for on Amazon. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what we call using the information we have at our disposal. And the biggest information that we have at our disposal right now is what we did for Prime Day. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, but we can look at what we did for Prime Day and we can use that information to help prepare us for how to run things. And we'll put a link in the notes, but because we went into this in greater detail, but we developed 4 strategies that you could have had for Prime Day. And they are strategies on how much you were going to spend, your cost, and how much revenue you were looking to generate. And if you were in the bottom left quadrant, you were in the no parking, right? You weren't running any deals, you weren't running any ads, and typically what we saw was about a 1-to-1 ratio over the previous year. So no real increase in sales. When we started looking at people that were in the 2 side quadrants, the speed limit and the minimum speed, they were either running a deal or they were running more aggressive ads. And what we found with those customers is that they were seeing 1.5 to 2x what they were doing the previous year. Customers were clearly looking for deals. And if you weren't running a deal, you weren't getting as good of a return on your strategy. The ones that were in the interstate, the upper right-hand corner, they are the ones who had planned deals. They were running ads. They used external resources to drive people to their site. And they were seeing 3 to 4x over the previous year. Now, remember that each of these returns of sales over the previous year are at a per SKU basis. You can look at your sales overall to determine how it's doing based on your previous sales, but that doesn't really give you the level of detail that you need. The level of detail that you need is how a SKU or a family of SKUs is doing. So when you are starting to kind of look at your strategy around the holidays, figure out for each of your ASINs, what type of sales do you want? What type of sales, so you can track pacing over the holiday time period. How are you going to get there? So if you're looking to just be even with what you did in a previous year, then maybe you don't need to do anything. Don't need to run any ads, don't need to run any deals. But if your expectation is that your sales are going to 2 or 3x, you got to do something. And the more aggressive you believe your goals are, the more aggressive you need to be in the types of strategies that you implement. I want to also focus a little bit on external traffic. And we talk about external traffic a lot, but we're starting to see external traffic have more and more value in terms of what it can do for your overall success in your campaigns. About 4 months ago, Seller Labs started experimenting with some of our customers using Facebook ads and Instagram ads. And we've seen some wild success with the things they've been able to do.
It's been
Now,
awesome.
the success has been both driving to their Amazon channel and driving direct to their e-commerce channel. So we have one customer who we've been able to start driving hundreds and thousands of dollars of sales directly through Instagram without ever going to Amazon or ever touching their e-commerce store. So everybody will have slightly different goals of how they want to use social media or how they want to use external traffic. But at a minimum, when we start looking at the holidays, remember that Amazon has a certain amount of traffic. That traffic is capped. You need to have sales velocity to drive and be successful on the platform. Use the resources that you have, social posts, emails, chats, all of those things to help boost your traffic and sales on Amazon to get your ranking higher, to generate more sales on the platform. As you start to understand your goals, as you start to understand how each social campaign is performing, you can then choose, oh, I don't want to send this to Amazon. I just want to convert the sale over here. So while we're big proponents of Amazon and we believe you should use traffic to be successful on Amazon, we also are realistic and understand that your goal is to build a successful e-commerce brand. And that e-commerce brand will be a combination of what you're doing on Amazon, your own website, and other marketplaces. But don't be fooled. People are leaving Amazon and they're going to your website to learn more about your product. They're going to your social channels to learn more about your product. So you need an effort that is 360 around everywhere that a customer can look and try to find you to understand how they want to interact with you. Because some people, they want Amazon, they want Prime. Some people, they want to buy from you direct. They want to help a small business. Some people, they're on their phone, they're on Facebook, and they want to push a button. And your brand should place itself where the consumer wants to buy. Okay, Ed, let's wrap this up and talk a little bit about thinking beyond the next 10 days.
So the next 10 days will be kind of like a marathon, honestly, but it's still going to be pretty busy right after that too. December is still, I think, one of the busiest months that I ever see with any of my clients in all different categories, and I can't wait for it. But one thing to keep in mind is back on October 1st, the holiday return window was actually extended to January 31st of next year for all orders placed through December 31st. And people are going to take advantage of this, guys. I am probably one of those people, just because there's less guilt involved. They don't have to go to a store to return something. More people will be doing all their shopping on e-commerce platforms because they can't go to certain stores and they have to turn to e-commerce instead. So they're going to be doing most of their shopping online. And if that being said, you know, they have to make a return. It's so easy to return something that was shipped to you by Prime. You just take it to the post office and they package it and send it out for you. It's no effort involved at all. So be prepared for this. And make sure you're still driving traffic. Don't just turn off all your campaigns after like the Cyber 5 weekend and say, okay, that was a great Q4. Keep it going. Of course, you may want to pare back a little bit on your budgets and things like that because you probably won't be using all of it. But keep in mind, it's still crunch time throughout the end of the year, going into early next year as well. There's still going to be a lot of traffic that you can capitalize on. People will still be shopping. People will be getting gift cards from their grandmas and things like that and saying, hey, get whatever you want to. And they'll be turning right back to Amazon to make more purchases. So don't just think this is going to end after Cyber 5.
Yeah, and it's really critical to understand. We don't know how the consumer is going to behave, right? We know that in general, there's a lot of gifts being bought now that won't even be given to people until Christmas Day, right? So you've got a window of about 5 weeks where you're going to be generating sales and won't have returns. My guess is returns will probably start around the 26th. And lead throughout the month. And it might work to your advantage. Somebody might buy something with the intention of returning it and forget. But you just have to keep this in mind. Before we recap, I'd like to ask Ed, what's on your wish list for the holidays this year?
Oh man, I haven't even thought about that. Isn't that terrible? It's my job to think about it for everybody else, but not for myself. I think honestly, like, I'm an Xbox
Your mom
guy.
asked me to ask you, so.
Oh, well, she's watching this. That's perfect. I'm a big Xbox guy. The new Xbox came out, but I had no intention of buying it yet. But if someone wants to gift it, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm looking for a PS5.
Ooh.
And I don't care. You don't have to gift it to me. You can just buy it and send it to me and I'll pay for it. I just want to get access to one. I'm not looking for anybody to gift it for me. I'm just looking to actually get access to one. The access is gift enough for me. Okay. Let's recap a little bit of what we covered, right? So we covered starting early. It's never too late to start. So even if you don't feel like you started early enough, get yourself started today.
Yeah. And then next is clean up your brand presence. Guys, this should be done throughout the year, but now it's especially important to have a strong brand presence on Amazon and make your listing, store, everything look beautiful.
Okay. Next one is to audit your account. Use the macro micro approach. This is where Ignite or Seller Labs Pro really comes into being handy, because all of our recommendations and suggestions are based on a longer period of time. And so you can shrink that period of time and look at things, or you can expand that period of time and see what the recommendations are. But look at those recommendations, clean them up, check your notifications on Pro, make sure you don't have anything outstanding. Get your account cleaned up so that it's ready to really run for you.
Yeah, and definitely use coupons and promotions, guys. This is the perfect time for that. Convince people to buy from you. Convince people that your brand is better and you offer the best discount, and really entice them to make their purchase quicker instead of waiting and comparing to someone else that has a higher price or a similar price for the same type of item. And once again, I prefer coupons. I think they're awesome and they look really awesome, and or they really have an attention drawing aspect to them on Amazon.
And use the information at your disposal. So take a look at what's worked for you in the past. Make sure you have goals set so you can actually pace yourself to your goals. It's hard to measure your success if you didn't identify what success would look like.
And with, like capitalizing on that external traffic, like I think Jeff, you said it best. Like, we do focus on Amazon, but for me, one of the first things I talk to my clients about is, do you have an e-commerce platform set up? What are you doing outside of Amazon? How are you driving traffic to Amazon? How are you driving traffic to your other e-commerce platform? That's huge, guys, because you want to have a brand that's outside of Amazon, in my personal opinion. You don't want to be kind of pigeonholed to just one aspect. Build it out over time and have multiple different ways where people can shop for your items with ease.
And then think beyond this holiday weekend. The truth of the matter is that sales are going to be booming for November and December. It's going to be the largest online holiday buying that we've ever seen. No questions asked. I'll stake my career on it. But that's not going to stop in Q1. So it's not just about the return window. It's about the fact that people are going to be home. It's winter. The pandemic is not going away. And people are still going to be buying online. And we have now started to build the habit among shoppers to be more comfortable with buying online. Yep. And so the penetration of online sales is going to jump this year. It's going to jump. And it still had a long way to go. It was only in, I think, the high teens prior to the pandemic in terms of total retail and what was happening online. There's a really good chance when they look back at this time period, they're going to see that number doubled, which is why I like to buy stock in things like Amazon and Netflix. Okay. So one of the things that your team does, Ed, is provide free Amazon advertising analysis. Can you talk a little bit about how somebody can use this analysis to identify opportunities within their account? Because this is a service that we offer for free. And it's a tool that we give you that you can then use to manipulate and look at your own data.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the report itself is beautiful, and it actually, you can select different filters and things that you want to look at throughout it. So it's not just stagnant data. But it's really awesome because it shows you where your spend is and where your sales are coming from, like even down to like a keyword level or a campaign level. But you can like look at all that data, find out where the waste is, what precisely one keyword is just wasting a lot of money, and it highlights it all for you. Then you can know what you have to do going forward to make your ads more efficient and effective. And it's just beautiful to look at it like this, as opposed to having to really drill in and try to make some tables and look at it yourself. This really analyzes it for you and gives you a great overview, but then zooms in on the specifics of what's working and not working.
Yeah. So if you want this report, you can reach out to our team. And what we'll do is we'll have to get a couple files from you, or if you're already a Seller Labs Pro customer, we can grab those files from your account. We'll make this report for you. And then what we'll do is we will share the report with you, and we'll teach you how to use it, more importantly. So you can actually use it. You can dive into it. You can look at it. You could update it again in the future if you wanted. And we'll do that all for free just to make sure you get more knowledgeable about advertising on Amazon. So I want to thank everybody for giving us a few minutes of their time today. I'm going to open up the floor for questions. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A. That's the easiest way to communicate with us. And I think I need to stop sharing to get into the Q&A and see that correctly. Great. All right. So Dale says it's his first holiday period. Cyber has two meanings. One, electronic equipment or product. Two, use of the internet. My question is Cyber 5 about electronics products or all products sold online? Oh, I guess I need to stop sharing. Let's see. Oh, okay. No, Caroline's just telling me that. Sorry, I'm not sharing. Go ahead. So I think he wanted to just know in general, we're using the term Cyber 5. What all does that mean?
So with my understanding, I think traditionally, like, Black Friday did revolve around electronics. Back in the day, back with the first crash of the first TV going under $1,000, and that caused the whole entire market to change, and TVs.
Well,
cheaper,
the whole
cheaper,
concept
cheaper.
of the whole concept of Black Friday was it was the day that all of the retailers from the year went into
exactly.
the black, meaning they finally started to have profit, right? That's where Black Friday as a concept came from. Was that essentially, think about that, right? We worked for 11 months of the year.
Yeah.
And we didn't make any of our profit until the last 5 weeks.
It's crazy. And like, I think traditionally in the past, it was a lot about electronics because that's what we're looking for, the higher priced items. But over the past, like, I'd say 5-6 years, it has evolved to be everything. Like, it is crazy what items you will see on sale for Cyber, like the Cyber 5 weekend. Like, it is, you'll see an apple slicer half off, and I'm like, that's a great deal. I need to get that. And there's a coupon. I'm going to clip it and use it. So like, I think it has evolved a lot over the past few years because I actually used to work in retail for Black Friday and did electronics. And that was a huge focus. But now it's really evolved outwards because everybody's using the internet for buying anything.
Yeah, I mean, heck, you can buy a TV for so cheap now that
oh man,
I don't think you. And I think I think that Black Friday also used to, Black Friday used to be more representative of in-store buying, and Cyber Monday used to be representative of online buying. And then there was always Small Business Saturday, where there was an encouragement to go shop locally. What's happened is that as stores started to open for Thanksgiving, we started to evolve into the Cyber 5 because a lot of stores didn't want to open for Thanksgiving. So they were offering online deals during Thanksgiving. And so you could watch during Thanksgiving Day, and all of a sudden you could be online shopping. And prior to even the last week or two, a lot of stores had already announced they weren't going to open this year for Thanksgiving.
right.
And it's possible that stores are going to not open for Black Friday, or they're going to have some type of much more limited release for Black Friday. Now, what's interesting is that Walmart tried to test time releases with the PS5. And it was a disaster.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So at 9 a.m., the PS5 went for sale, and it was this mad dash to get it. And so what's happening is if you want to look this up and you want to kind of learn more about it, there's these things called shoe bots. And shoe bots were created so that people could buy like high priced, like streetwear shoes, like the newest Nikes or Air Jordans or LeBrons or something like that. Not my thing. And shoe bots basically are designed to say, I'm going to buy this shoe. I'm going to buy it from this website and it's going to drop at 9 a.m. And at 9 a.m., it just is like, right. It's just hitting that site as hard as it can to get as many shoes into their checkout and to check out with them. All of those shoe bots changed their systems to work for Walmart and Target and Best Buy so that people could start getting the PS5. So literally I was on the Walmart website at 8:59 and the site was working fine. And at 9 o'clock, the site just died because all the bots came on, hit the site super hard, crashed it, got the products they want, and got out. And so it'll be interesting to see how stores, whether stores are going to announce release times for their product, or if it's just you got to keep checking to see if you can find it.
Yeah. And I will say those bots made a lot of money because those, like the PS5s are reselling for like $1,600.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. I would only pay you back the price you paid for it because I'm willing to wait. But if anybody wants to help me out, let me know. So a question that came in from Jennifer, Ed, she wanted to know, how do you determine a budget for the holidays? So when you're talking to your customers about advertising budgets, how do you help them think about that? Or what do you suggest for them when they think about that?
So normally I look at their previous budget over the past 30 days to kind of get a baseline to understand what their spend has been normally. Then I'll actually zoom in on a campaign by campaign level and see how the campaigns have been performing with their allotted budget, like if they're actually meeting that budget or if they're going over it. And I do most of the work at a campaign level, just to be honest. We actually, on a weekly basis, we do budget checks for all of our accounts. And what that means is we go into the account, we look at each campaign, looking at the past 7 days. If the budget's been consistently maxing out, but it's remaining profitable and hitting the target costs and all the goals we're trying to go after, we increase that budget so it runs longer throughout the day. So when it does come to like a 1 day, 2 day Cyber 5 event, it is more of kind of a gut check to some degree, but you can still look back at the previous like 30 days and see how your budget has been going. And if it's been maxing out every day, you should go in and increase it beforehand so you get a better idea of what your traffic will be going into Cyber 5. I usually like a 7.
I'm gonna caveat that and say it's maxing out or coming close to maxing out, and you're hitting the numbers you want to hit.
Right, exactly.
So like
you do not want to reward poor performance.
We never recommend just increasing your budget.
No,
increasing your budget should be that I'm increasing my budget because I'm hitting my other numbers. And if I'm being successful at this price, then why don't I go up to this price?
Exactly. It makes sense to spend more money if you're making money and you're being successful with your ads. If they're running terribly and they're maxing out, do double optimizations instead and pull down those bids on what's actually running hot and causing the ACoS to go so high.
Yeah. So Bill asked an interesting question. Bill says, I'm busy. I got a lot going on. Break this down for me and just tell me the 2 or 3 things I really need to focus on. So if you need to break this down for somebody and say, hey, and I know, Brett would always say it depends, right? But like, what are the 2 or 3 like maybe biggest data points within Amazon that you would recommend that he checks out, or the 2 or 3 things that he keeps an eye on? Because, like Bill, everybody's busy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, first thing I think is most important is your brand presence. Making sure your listings are top-notch, optimized, you have a store built out, you're doing A+ content, you're doing everything you can that Amazon gives to people that have brand registry. Make sure you have a great landing page, quote unquote. Make sure you have a great presence just across the board on Amazon. That's one. Second, of course, is a huge, like 60, 90-day look back on your advertising. You can't just let it run haphazardly through the holidays. You want to have it as efficient and as clean as possible. Then I'd say 3, I would look at external traffic. I think that's a great way to give some variety in the traffic that you're pushing. So you're not just focusing on just the Amazon traffic. You're pulling people in off of Amazon going to your listing as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna give just one. And I'm gonna say that if you don't have a strategy, that's where I would start.
Yeah.
So I know it's depends, and you have to figure out like what does it depend on and what are you working on. But if you do not have a strategy, if you do not know which products in your catalog are going to drive you the sales and how you're going to drive those sales, you're entering the Christmas season with what I call a hope strategy. You hope it's good. And you cannot have a hope strategy. You have to have a detailed ASIN level strategy, because there's no other way to log into Pro on a daily basis and see how your sales are doing, or see how a product's performing, or see what notifications are coming in, and know which one is the most important for you to focus on.
Yeah. And something we didn't bring up earlier in the presentation is don't try to push those products or ASINs that just don't work. Don't use this as a time to try to clear inventory out of products that aren't converting already. Normally, if they don't convert throughout the year, they more than likely won't convert during this period, unless they're holiday items, of course. But don't try to just clean house with products that don't convert, especially through advertising.
Thank you, Ed, for coming on today. Thank you for sharing this valuable information. Thank you to everybody for participating. We appreciate you coming on. We're going to have some additional great content throughout the holiday period, so keep an eye out for that. We always like, wait, I might have had one more question come in here. Let's just check it out. Okay, so I got one more question coming on, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. For those of us who have an ongoing campaign utilizing Stellar Labs, is there an option to have somebody do a review and offer suggestions, basically to check on what's going on to ensure the campaign is doing well?
Yeah, I think the campaign analysis is probably the best thing for that, because it would highlight at a holistic level what needs to be focused on. Like you could be actually targeting too low of an A cost that could be driving down your sales, or some other things like that that could be happening. So I think just following the link that's in the chat and
Yeah,
requesting
and
that
I
can
would
help
say
out.
our customer service reps are actually pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I like to say they are trained to understand how to use our tool. They are not necessarily trained in how to be Amazon advertising experts. That's the managed services team. That's Ed's team. So they usually can answer a lot of questions. They can identify a few different things, and they can point out ways to use the tool more effectively. The CAT analysis is really that larger analysis of kind of what's going on with your account. And between the two of those, you should be able to get what you need.
Yeah, I bother our customer success team all the time, and they love it when I do it too, I bet.
All right. So I saw that last question come in, so I wanted to make sure we kind of attacked it. I always like to ask at the end of these for you to give us your feedback on today. So we thank you guys for coming. If you want to throw into the chat, rate this presentation between a 1 and a 5, 5 being the best, 1 being this was a total waste of my time. If you're going to give us a 1, I want to know, why did you stay on for the last 50 minutes if you're going to give me a 1? And remember, my bonus for the year is all based off of these grades. So keep that in mind. I'm just kidding. I want your honest feedback on this. Would love to know if we didn't cover something that you thought we should have covered, what was that? How can we improve? How can we do better? How can we use your time and make you more efficient in being successful in your business? So thank you to everybody for coming on. Thank you for joining us, and look forward to bringing you more content in December and all of 2021.